this in. It's time to raise the banner here in State College for this top 5 showdown. Let's join PA announcer Ryan
on the court. Both Brooklyn DeLay and Eva Hudson are the key to this Kentucky offense. The key to taking down Kentucky is trying to slow at least one of them down, which we've seen so far this season has been so difficult. Penn State relies on a power right side to get it done. That's two-time All-American Kennedy Martin. She's 6'6", so she's one of the most physical attackers in the country with an insanely heavy arm. They'll get her going from the back row as well and move her around. So Kentucky's defense has to have eyes on Martin at all times.
Yeah, we'll dive into that chest bump we saw just a moment ago. But to your point, Emily, Kennedy Martin already has 76 kills this season through just 4 matches. She's a two-time All-American, as you said, and she is a killer on the pin. Time now to meet the starters. We begin with the Wildcats. Head coach Craig Skinner looking for more production out of his middles, and we expect to see a little bit of a tweak there here tonight. Kennedy Washington likely getting the nod for Brooke Baltima as we enjoy and are spoiled with a raucous atmosphere inside Rec Hall. But how about the middle change there? But let's focus in on Penn State. Emily coming in on a 2-match losing skid. Katie Schumacher-Cauley in a tough situation here tonight. Breaking news, everybody. We're told the 2024 national freshman of
not only run the offense well, she's got to play really big up front today.
A couple of undersized players in that right front position. We'll break down Asia Thigpen, number 20 in black, later on as well. But Penn State will be the first serving sack for this one. The wrecking crew here inside Rec Hall. Doesn't get much better than this, Emily.
And we're told about 2,000 students in attendance. This place is absolutely rocking. I feel like we've been shaking down here for about the last half hour.
Yes, we have, and that is a test that Craig Skinner, the head coach for Kentucky, is interested to see for his team to be in a Big Ten, big-time atmosphere. This is the home opener for Penn State. The emotions behind winning a national title last season and watching your banner lifted to the rafters has to be fueling the team in white. It'll be Jocelyn Nathan to start us off with first serve, number 11 in white for Penn State. Ooh, a serve that could have been deep, doesn't matter, to the pin as we would expect, and down goes Addie Lyon, introducing herself to the match. Back to Sarafa. Thigpen, the undersized opposite, throws it down. She's got a cool story here too, Emily.
Asia Thigpen is an incredible story. She played last season, her freshman year. She was injured a lot of it, but she really only played as a DF and would hit out of the backcourt. Coach Skinner says she's not a prototypical right side, but we needed her to fill that, and she's been one of the most impressive players during preseason.
Swiss Army knife utility player. That's Molly Tuzzo, the little barrel. Back to serve for Kentucky. Kennedy Martin gets her first attempt. Sarafa throws it back to the pin. Brooklyn DeLay does not get a kill there, so we'll see what Emmy Selman does. Sarafa back to DeLay, who finds the seam and rips one through, opens up her scoring tonight.
The biggest indicator of who's going to win this match is how well Penn State can control Kentucky's left sides. Because they are one of the most terminal duos in the entire country, Penn State has to put a premium on blocking out there, as well as defending in the backcourt.
How about the high praise from Russ Rose on Brooklyn DeLay ahead of the match, too? That's got to feel good. Seven-time national championship winning head coach. Out to the pin to Emmy Selman. Sarafa goes middle this time, keeping Penn State honest, and they are on it. And there's a look at head coach for Kentucky, Craig Skinner, and he's been around the game for a long time. 21st season at the helm, 2020 national champion. Credits his roots in Munciana, Indiana for his volleyball career. DeLay handles a beautiful pass there, and a crafty angle from Thigpen, looking for the touch, doesn't get it.
I love the way that setter for Kentucky, Ava Sarafa, is already keeping this offense pretty balanced to start. We've seen some middle involvement, seen 2 sets over to Thigpen as well.
Well, there's the trailblazer herself, Katie Schumacher-Cauley, becoming the first female head coach to lead a team to the national championship. Also won the first national title here for Penn State. She's a legend. And there we have an introduction to Eva Hudson from the back row. Craig Skinner telling us he had to recruit her 3 times. 3rd time's the charm.
And such a massive impact that Eva Hudson is having on this team. She's a fantastic 6 rotation player. I mean, she's playing all the way around the court. Great passer, good offense, and also really nice defender back there.
Transfer from Purdue, led the Big Ten in kills the last 3 seasons. That tells you her production level. And Addie Lyon with a tight set. How about the youngster in the undersized setter, Addie Lyon, throwing a one-handed set to Kennedy Martin.
Insanely athletic play for Addie Lyon to go up with one hand and put it up for Martin. Martin, though, she's 6'6". She can get to a lot of balls up there that a lot of right sides can't.
Addie Lyon, 5'9", a fifth-year senior, spent around the college volleyball game a long time, and DeLay has a prompt response for the Wildcats.
Anytime that Addie Lyon is up front, she's 5'9", number 7 in white. Expect almost every single ball for Kentucky to go to the outside because that's a blocking matchup with a shorter setter that Kentucky wants to exploit.
Absolutely spot on with that one, Emily. Eva Hudson back in the front row and a big serve incoming from Brooklyn DeLay, handled by the defense of Penn State, and Emmy Selman lights it up down the line. How about that pass, though, from Juice?
Penn State really struggled last weekend in their matchup against Arizona State and TCU. Both two ranked teams, so it was difficult, but their passing really fell apart during those matches. That was something coming into this week that Penn State put a massive emphasis on of cleaning up.
Coming into this match tonight, Emily, without your quarterback, your starting quarterback, Izzy Stark, I think Katie Schumacher-Cawley has to be pleased with the way Penn State has come out so far tonight. Eva Pelduto checks in with a big serve. What a pass, though, from Kentucky. Eva Hudson goes big, looking for the tool, doesn't get it. Pelduto looking to continue the run. Another look at the play. I don't see a touch on it. No challenge there as well.
Hudson still trying to go after that shorter blocker.
Addie Lyon talked to us before the match, Emily. We asked her approach on the pin. How are you going to go up against these big outside? She says, I'm not going to get stuff blocks, but I'm going to go for touches and try and funnel it properly to my defense.
As a shorter blocker, you know that you might not get stuffs all the time, but how can you still affect the play? Can you get your hands in good positions where you're getting a nice soft block and just get the ball up for your backcourt to then transition?
Trinity Ward back to serve for Kentucky. Ooh, goes for the jump float, denied by the net. It is so loud inside Rec Hall, we cannot even hear ourselves think. Kennedy Washington getting the nod, as we mentioned, in the middle for Kentucky, looking for that middle production. We'll keep an eye on that. And that is well deep for the middle blocker, Jordan Hopp, also a fifth-year senior coming here to Penn State from Iowa State. Tied up 6 apiece here in set number 1, top 5 matchup, early September. It didn't used to be like this back in our day, Emily.
It didn't used to be like this 3 years ago. It's so much fun that the top teams all play each other early on in non-conference. It's great for the sport.
Eva Sarafa, the redshirt sophomore setter, back to serve. And how about Jurevicius going for hands? She gets the touch on command. And Caroline Jurevicius has got to have a big night on the pin, but it's an adjustment, Emily, going from the opposite to the pin. Take another look at the play.
Yeah, Caroline Jurevicius has lined up as a right side most of her career. Now she's playing on the left, on the outside. It's a big adjustment, mostly from a passing standpoint, which was something she didn't have to handle her last 2 seasons as a right side.
Beautiful serve from Addie Lyon, gets Kentucky out of position. Penn State still alive. It's Kennedy Martin with a live arm, and why not go back to the hot hand in Kennedy Martin.
These fans love it. Kennedy Martin, one of the most explosive and impressive players in all of NCAA volleyball because of that range and explosiveness that she has in her arm.
And with Addie Lyon in the back row, the 5'9" setter, no more blocking mismatch for Kentucky. We'll see how they strategize their offense. They go back to Eva Hudson. What a dig from Addie Lyon. We're still going. No, it's wide. Great defensive effort, though, from Penn State, and that's the heart that Katie Schumacher-Cawley saw in a player like Addie Lyon. Found her in the portal, wanted her experience, and so far so good for the other side setter.
Even before we found out that Stark wasn't going to play tonight, in past conversations weeks ago, Katie Schumacher-Cawley has been so high on Addie Lyon and really impressive what she's been able to bring to the team.
Eva Hudson goes back to serve now, which means Brooklyn DeLay is back on the pin for Kentucky in the front row. Out to the pin to Kennedy Martin, who finds the donut, goes with the tip.
This is what makes Kennedy Martin so difficult. Not only does she have good range and an explosive arm, but she knows exactly when to pull it back and find big holes in the defense on the other side.
Well, it's knowing when to do those kind of tips, which is the experience of Kennedy Martin. Then you keep the defense on their toes. Now they don't know if she's going heavy, swing through the seam, or going to throw in that tip, so we'll keep an eye on that. Jocelyn Nathan, the junior defensive specialist, back to serve. Goes to Eva Hudson. And right away, there you see Lizzie Carr, another Purdue transfer, redshirt junior.
Lizzie Carr, one of the most impressive middles on the floor tonight because of that reach. She's 6'6". She can get to a lot of balls. It's a little bit higher set that you see in the middle, but such a fast arm swing to put it down.
Kentucky looking to tie it on the serve of Molly Tuzzo, the libero. Nice pass from Grimes. Little position there, doesn't matter. Addie Lyon loves setting. Kennedy Martin, you asked her a great question ahead of this. Who's her favorite player to set? Well, guess who?
I think anyone's favorite player to set is the one that's scoring you a lot of points. That's what Kennedy Martin, number 18 in white, does. She's that physical presence that if you need a bailout anywhere on the court, she's good for a point.
Julian Grimes back to serve. Keeps it on Hudson. That's clearly their target. How about Asia Penn? I love to see a 5'11" attacker on the opposite with that much fight.
I mean, that heavy arm, too, for just being 5'11". Man, she packs a punch.
Craig Skinner talked about her, so this is a player where I had to keep on the court whatever that meant, and she is best on the opposite side. Love that from a coach, to find your strengths and play to those. Grimes handles the pass again. Lyon goes back to her favorite attacker. What a dig from Tuzzo. Out of the back row, a two-handed set, easy to read for Grimes. Lyon goes back to the pin. Selman throws in a tip. So Rafa goes back to the pin. Delay, loads it up, and how about the attack from Emmy Selman from the middle of the court.
Huge heads-up play from Emmy Selman. She's pulled in on this block. She's playing off block and defense, so she gets right up right away and is ready to take a big swing at this ball.
What a heads-up play from Emmy Selman, a sophomore transfer from Ohio State. Kennedy Martin back to serve, so keep an eye on that matchup, as Emily pointed out on the pin. Instead, Sarafa goes over on a tight pass. Jordan Hott tries to attack, and that's an athletic play from Kennedy Washington.
Kennedy Washington is known for just a sophomore, but Craig Skinner loves what he sees from her and just her ability to read the game. That's a perfect example. Getting your body right around that, knowing that's coming over on two.
Brooklyn Delay back to serve for the Wildcats. Heavy topspin incoming, and Penn State pulled off. With that pass, doesn't matter when you got a cannon loaded up out of the back row. That cannon is Kennedy Martin.
Martin getting a ton of swings so far, and look at this angle. So many open shots to hit, and everything about that blocking toward the middle of the court, so she sharpens that a little bit, going back to left back in zone 5.
And a little smile there from Addie Lyon, enjoying herself. Says it helps to have that experience coming into this kind of situation. She wasn't shell-shocked. She wasn't nervous. She just was coming in, handling her business. In for Izzy Stark, if you're just joining us. Eva Hudson, though, finds the opening down the line. That's the mismatch problem in the front row.
Yeah, when Addie Lyon, just 5'9" as a blocker, is up front, expect Kentucky to run a lot of balls, pushed all the way out to the pins, meaning it's all the way toward the antenna, so she's able to go off of that shorter blocker.
And actually went off the hands of Jordan Hott that time, too. Ricochets out. Back to the service line for Kentucky. Trinity Ward, the freshman, missed her first serve. We'll see what she's got here. There it is. Big, beautiful jump, float serve. And Chura Vicious went up with purpose, exploiting Sarafa in the front row, which can sometimes be a mismatch, too.
Yeah, also a mismatch on Penn State's side. So they have a shorter setter up front for Kentucky. They're going to go after it, especially if Chura Vicious is up there. She's got that heavy arm and high reach.
Serve from Jordan Hott. And a heavy swing from Eva Hudson. Back out wide to Mendelson, who gets stuff blocked and denied by the Wildcats.
Big move from Eva Hudson, getting all the way outside, hands in a perfect position to not only lock that up, but put it straight down.
Back to the line is Ava Sarafa. Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. Jump float serve, goes right down the line with it, exploits Chura Vicious. Serve receive, Sarafa back to Hudson. No surprises there. See what Lyon does. Goes to the pin, and it's Chura Vicious, who needed to have a big night, and so far, so good for Jurevicius, looking to find her rhythm on the outside attack.
Even when it's not that perfect set, Jurevicius is able to adjust her arm swing to it. So, but dying a little bit inside, she's able to adjust it, go right off the block and down.
Serve into the net for Addie Lyon, who has been rock solid so far for the Nittany Lions. And Kentucky will take it back, looking to tie it at 14 here in set number 1. Eva Hudson. It's a big arm and a big serve, too. Took a little bit off it there. Caldudo handles it. Martin goes straight into the block of the undersized Big Penn.
There's nothing better up front than being an undersized blocker and getting a massive stuff against one of the best attackers in the entire country. So impressive from Big Penn.
Back out to Jurevicius, where she feels at home on the right. Gets the tool and gets the kill. How about this start for Penn State? No Izzy Stark, and a great start for the Nittany Lions. Big perseverance on the side of the team in white. More to come from set 1 next. Coming back to Rec Hall here in State College. Big news for Penn State without their quarterback, Izzy Stark. And how about that statement kill for the middle, Lizzie Carr, 6'6", and Penn State fell every inch of that.
Ava Sarafa is doing a beautiful job of bearing up this offense. Even 6 feet off the net, still getting the middle attack going, which is really difficult because that window is so small.
Molly Tuzzo back to serve with a jump float, trying to go after Emmy Selman, who handles the pass, but it's from the 10-foot line. Nice set there from Lyon. Sarafa pulls one out of the tape. Brilliant stuff from her. And a dig. Tuzzo with hands of gold runs tempo to the pin, out to delay.
Now this is something you don't see very often. Molly Tuzzo, the libero, meaning she's only playing in the backcourt for Kentucky, jump setting the ball and doing it really fast to her outside. Typically that ball has a lot of height to it, so it's slower.
We chatted with Craig Skinner about that libero offense, and she likes to sling those tempo sets from the back row. System is Penn State. Wow, what a spot for Kennedy Martin. Somehow gets Kentucky in a scramble, and Martin dodges that one. Selman takes a rip at it. Molly Tuzzo goes tempo again to delay. What kind of advantage does that give you when your libero can run tempo out of the back row?
Typically when it's out of system, meaning when a libero is taking that second ball, it's a lot slower, so the block thinks it has more time to set up. In this case, the block isn't necessarily pushed over enough. Martin's hands not together, so it goes right off her head and out of bounds.
Craig Skinner telling us she's an elite athlete in the back row. She has the touch. It's Penn State back to work now. Emmy Selman with a high swing as Kentucky loads up the back row attack. Eva Hudson is dug out by Juice in the middle back position. Kennedy Martin loads up, throws it deep middle. Delay is blocked. Second try is not the charm, but yes it is. There's a touch on the block identified, and Penn State might challenge this one.
Awesome transition play for Brooklyn DeLay. The first swing in this rally didn't go down, so she worked her butt off to get all the way off and get that good second swing, just finding the fingertips going out.
How about this run for Kentucky, up 3 points after the hot start of Penn State, and how have they been able to create somewhat of a turning point here, Emily, in your mind?
The biggest thing is putting up a better second ball, especially out of system. They're forcing that tempo. It looks like the offense has
got Penn State juiced up for this big match without Izzy Stark, the setter, and that is a big storyline. We'll dive deeper into it after this first set. Kentucky taking control here. Molly Tuzzo, the libero, back to serve, looking to continue the run. She goes short that time, handled by Mendelson. Out to the pin, Emmy Selman rips a big swing through a big hole. What a set from Addie Lyon.
Beautiful set from Lyon. She's pushing tempo, meaning this ball's a lot faster coming out of the setter's hands. Because of that, it doesn't give the opposing blockers time to set up, and a massive hole in the block for the attacker to go right through.
Credit to Maggie Mendelson there, going hard with her approach in the middle, holding a middle blocker off there as well. Big Penn takes care of business. Number 20 in black, an ultimate competitor.
I love the way that Thig Penn is swinging right now. She's putting everything she's got into it. She's also ripping it down the line, so hitting it straight down to left back on Penn State's side. Penn State might want to move that block out just a little bit to take away that angle.
Let's see if they do that. Molly Brezowitz back to serve, now has family ties to Kentucky. Her sister won a national title with the Wildcats back in 2020. We'll dive into that later. Emmy Selman loads up. Nicely dug by Tuzzo. That angle is too sharp to handle from DeLay.
Brooklyn DeLay has so much range on these attacks. We've seen her go high hands, rip line shots, now slicing this one inside. The way that she finishes that right hand, turns her thumb down, that allows her to get inside the block and hit a really impressive cut shot.
6th kill of the night for Brooklyn DeLay, hitting .545. Good luck stopping her out on the pin. There's Kennedy Martin, pulled a little bit inside, and a nice dig from Brezowitz. Tip over the block, ooh, deflected. Lyon was there, but just out of reach after the last minute touch.
Kentucky doing an awesome job playing transition defense, meaning they're getting good touches in the backcourt, and they're able to get a good second touch on that and a good swing.
Brezowitz, Kentucky 4 points away from taking the first set. Deep float serve. Set from Lyon, goes to the middle, and that's a way to keep the defense of Kentucky honest. These players are asking for a challenge, and I think Craig Skinner might consider taking one here. We'll see. How about that gutsy play from Addie Lyon to get the middles going here too, and the impact of that for the Kentucky defense.
And massive to have that extra option, especially in the middle for Penn State, as a team that really relies on those pins.
Beautiful swing again from who else but Brooklyn DeLay.
8 kills already to start hitting nearly 600. She's doing a phenomenal job getting the ball in her hand, but then really mixing up what she's doing. The block doesn't know where to go.
She's mechanic out there on the pin. Producer of kills. And a big topspin serve goes into the net too. High risk, high reward there. Penn State needs to run. Time starting to run out. Juravicius checks back into the lineup. Ava Feldudo checks in too. She'll be back to serve for Penn State. What does Penn State need to do here to get a run?
I think the biggest thing is to vary up their offense a little bit. They're getting a little bit one-dimensional right now with Kennedy Martin. She can only do so much. Get other people involved.
Spot on with that one. Feldudo goes deep. Brezowitz throws it up. It's 10-foot line though. Sarafa goes tempo anyways to the pin. What a dig from Feldudo. Juravicius tracks it down. We're still going. Tuzzo throws up a dive. Sarafa to the pin. One-on-one situation. Out to the pin again. Juravicius throws it down, and that's a momentum swinging point. Mark it down. 22-19.
Big up from Juravicius. Just taking one.
The defensive scramble, too.
Yeah, good defensive scramble back there, but awesome finish from Juravicius, seeing where the blockers were lined up and going right down the line with it. And now we'll see a blocking sub come in for Penn State, trying to provide a bigger block with Gabby Nichols in middle. So there's no setter on the court right now for Penn State, so everything for them is out of system.
And we'll see how that impacts Penn State. They go to the middle back position. DeLay looking for a touch, does not get one. The call is out. And Craig Skinner taking a timeout wide open where Kentucky's going. And you can get away with it when you've got a team like Kentucky that has such exterminators, quite frankly, on the pin. It doesn't matter always to be as pin heavy. Saw the same thing with Penn State last year, win a national title with Jess Merzick and Cam Hanna taking a lot of those attempts. Okay, out of system here for Kentucky in some trouble, and so is Penn State. Feldudo is taking the second contact, and you can see how not having your quarterback setter into position here for Penn State can be costly.
And when you don't have a setter in, which now Lions headed back into the match, it really changes the way that you think as a defense too, because you have to keep that ball off of the net to make sure that someone can get a good second touch. That was a little bit awkward for Feldudo to take and put up a good second ball.
Yeah, you can see the scramble settle in right on second contact as Trinity Ward checks back in at the service line for Kentucky. Craig Skinner relieved after that scramble from Penn State. Looking to go up set point here for the Wildcats. Deep flow too, it was close. Might have kissed that baseline, we don't know. And a big block from the middle blocker, Lizzie Carr. 6'6", tough to get through.
An easy point for Carr to put down. Roll shotting right into it. You got to go higher with it. Or Jervicius has been great taking a big swing. Go all out.
Set point, Kentucky. Hines handles the pass. 3.0. It's Kennedy Martin. Rips one to the corner. Roll that one back to the other side.
Late in sets, expect both sides to go to their go-to attackers. For Penn State, that is always Kennedy Martin, no matter where she is on the court. This time, coming through middle back, even though she's playing in right back.
Point number 2 here for Kentucky. We'll see if Penn State can hang on. Nice pass from Hudson, middle back. Attack goes to the back row. It's Brooklyn Delay to close it out, and that's a fitting touch to get her 9th kill of set number 1 as we open up the match. How about the performance from Kentucky answering the roar of Rec Hall? They're up a set. Bye forever. Just say goodbye for now. Emily Eman, your thoughts on this drastic decision?
Well, I think first, I think everyone's heart goes out to Izzy, and hopefully that she can find some comfort in making this decision. But also, I just want to point out the bravery that it takes to put out something like that and to make this decision. As she said, it's not an easy choice to do, but it shows just the bravery that she has in coming forward with that and being so open about it. I think will help a lot of athletes down the line who are maybe feeling the same thing, to see that one of the best volleyball players in the entire country is able to do that. So heart goes out to her, and sending her all the love, because she's just one of the greatest people.
Absolutely is. Really, really sweet person off the court as well. And Katie Schumacher-Cauley obviously had a lot to take in after that decision from Izzy Stark as well, who's just taking a pause to focus on healing and growth. And we wish Izzy Stark nothing but the best as Addie Lyon takes over the reins. The red shirt senior in her 5th year, very experienced but undersized. Number 7 in white goes out to Emmy Selman, who gets the kill and the touch. And what a story for Addie Lyon to cap her career, her 5th year. She wanted to be at Penn State. There was no guarantee for playing time, and look at her shine in the spotlight.
I think coming into a program that has just won a national championship, there's expectations on you, but she's been in a starting role between a 5-1, meaning a 1-setter system, and a 6-2, 2-setter system for the last 4 years. So Lyon's been starting. She's out on the floor. She has experience. Maybe not expecting to lead the reigning national champs, but she's going to have a lot of weight on her shoulders now leading this team, as we won't see Izzy Stark for the rest of the season. But if we know anything, even from talking to her today, she's incredibly mature. She's a great leader. I think she's an awesome player to step into that role.
We covered Penn State last weekend. She is a great coach from the sideline too. Worked with Izzy Stark a lot. Has a desire to be a coach in her next chapter of life. One of the big reasons she chose Penn State. Emmy Selman again gets denied from the pin. Lyon goes right back to her. Finds a different angle, does Semi. And a dunk from the front row in Kentucky in the mix. That was our first look at Cassie O'Brien. She's the freshman setter who will go in the front row at times for Kentucky. That setting position. Potential 5-2 situation here for Kentucky. We'll monitor that and explain as we go. Emmy Selman throws over a 3-ball situation. Cassie O'Brien leading the offense now. Through the big seam goes Kennedy Washington.
So you mentioned that 5-2 offense. Essentially what that means is that you'll have one setter playing the front row and a different setter playing in the back row. So in this rotation, you have Cassie O'Brien setting in the front, and then you'll see Ava Sarafa come in the back to play defense.
Great explanation there. Brent Skinner very comfortable with Sarafa's defense in the back, but likes the physicality of O'Brien in the front. Speaking of physicality, Kennedy Martin not going away quietly. That's her 7th kill of the night.
Martin doing a really nice job seeing the block in front of her and really adjusting her arm swing to what she sees. If that's a seam, going off high hands, but really using her vision to her advantage.
Kennedy Martin back to serve now. Talk about a tough serve to pass. I mean, the contact point from Kennedy Martin. Emily, we were littles back in our day, so to line up not only the velocity, but the float and the trajectory that Kennedy Martin, standing at 6'6", can hit the serve at, it's difficult.
I mean, I would literally turn the other way and run out of the gym. It's coming straight down at you, and she hits it so fast. It's coming like 45 miles an hour, which for context is really, really fast.
Ball is deep. Kentucky takes back a 1-point lead. Back to the 5-2 situation and conversation. It's a different set when you're working with two different setters on the floor. So we'll monitor that too if that impacts the connection at all with any hitters. Brooklyn delay, back to serve, handled by Grimes. System, Emmy Selman goes cross court, calls off Jordan Hop. Tries to throw it down. Kentucky with some scrappy defense. Stays in it. Great coverage too. Brooklyn delay. Tries to find the middle. Ryan gets it up. Grimes from the floor. Throws over a free ball. Back to the pin. Hudson buries it. And buries any hope for Penn State on that point.
That set is so fast for Kentucky from the time it's in the setter's hands to when it's in the outside. It's under the antenna, so it's only about 2 feet above the net. It's so difficult to close a block when things are coming that fast.
For Brooklyn delay, lets Penn State off the hook as they look to time. Caroline Juravicius and Ava Feldudo check back into the lineup. Emmy Selman out. Jocelyn Nathan comes out. How about Emmy Selman too, stepping up in a big way? Her team was looking for her to do so. 4 kills on the night, hitting .250. As Ava Feldudo goes back to serve with a jump float. Pick apart the seams. Goes to the right of Bresowitz. With a big hit and an even better dig from Feldudo, but they could not cover it for Caroline Juravicius. How about that block from the feisty Cassie O'Brien?
That's exactly what you have, a taller setter playing in the front court. O'Brien is 6'1", so a little bit more physical than Sarafa is. Great handwork, shuts that down.
What do you think about the decision for Craig Skinner to go to a 5-2? He told us he was toying with it.
Yeah, Skinner said he was practicing it in the gym, but you probably wouldn't see it tonight. And despite winning that first set, still goes right to it. So clearly he feels pretty strong with it.
You question a guy that's been around the game here at this level and this program for 21 years. Katie Schumacher-Colley will have her work cut out for her this season if Izzy Stark remains out for the rest of the year, as her words shared a moment ago expressed. For just joining us. That's a big deal for Penn State volleyball. Ooh, what a serve. How about that one from Trinity Ward, the freshman? Picking apart the seam with Jillian Grimes. Not typical that you target the libero. And that time found a seam.
Kentucky's serving a lot of balls right at Jillian Grimes, which for one of the best passers in the country is an interesting serving strategy, but it's paying off for Kentucky, getting Penn State in a situation where they're getting a lot of block touches.
It's a tough ball to read in the last minute, floating up, floating down. You don't know if it's in or out. On the serve, how about that? Out of system, Caroline Juravicius throws it down the line. And this is where you're going to ask your big hitters and your veterans to step up, Emily. Without Izzy Stark, you need people to start producing from all sorts of places in the lineup.
Especially when it's a setter switch for a team, you need to make sure that especially those pin connections are good, because those are a little bit easier to get down in the middles.
So veterans likely with Juravicius, she's only a sophomore, but has to be a veteran in this situation. Big dig for Penn State. What a play by Juravicius. Jordan Hop in the back row. Love that set to the back right.
That is not something you see very often. A middle blocker coming in to serve and then getting set out of the back row. Really the only time we see this, sometimes Andy Jackson for Nebraska, but man, strong, confident swing, girl.
Maybe Penn State's onto something with that. Might as well add all the attack options you can get. You've got Kennedy Martin loading up in middle back. You've got Jordan Hop in right back, and you've got a stumped block for Kentucky, who now is maybe questioning what's ahead. We'll see. Jordan Hop back to serve in a 2-point gap. Nice pass from Bresowitz and a juicy dunk from Cassie O'Brien. Why is that effective for setters to be active in the front row?
It's really important for setters to go up and take it over because it establishes them as a threat. In this rotation right here, there's no blocker that goes up on the setter. So now the next time the ball is tight, you might hold the blocker just a little bit longer, which opens things up for your other attackers.
That would be dangerous for a more wide open pin situation for Kentucky, like they need any help. One-on-one situation, and that's not the matchup they were looking for either.
No, and every time that you have Addie Lyon up front, just standing at 5'9", this is a matchup that Kentucky wants to exploit, especially with how fast the offense is. And on the opposing side for Penn State, right now you have a freshman middle playing in Gabby Nichols, so it's going to be more difficult for her to track that fast offense.
That goes back to your point earlier about running those middles, and how about Kennedy Martin? out of the back row. Doesn't matter where she's coming from, she finds a way to put the ball away.
That looked like the set that Adeline maybe was hoping for the last time with Martin in the backcourt. A better D-ball, meaning a attack out of right back.
So Kennedy Martin back in the front row, Addie Lyon back to serve. More fortuitous blocking situation here for Penn State. See how Kentucky manages. Ooh, I like that set to the back row. Kennedy Martin throws it over on second contact tip. And what a dig, what a play from Kennedy Martin. To play out defense and offense. Kennedy Martin will not get the kill credit, but she should get a lot of the defensive credit.
Not only do we talk about how good Martin is offensively, but she is so good defensively. People know that if you tip her the ball or try to get the ball in her, it takes her out of the offense. So she's forced to play up a lot of plays you don't typically see from 6'6" right sides making.
Juravicius hitting above 400 right now. That was a great kill for her, number 7 on the night. Big play from Hudson. You mentioned the youth of Gabby Nichols in the middle. There was a slight seam there for the experienced Eva Hudson to find.
And that seam is happening on Penn State's side because of how fast this offense is going out. It doesn't allow time for Penn State's middle to get out and formed in time. That's a seam between the block that the attacker can go through.
Expedition Grimes throws it up to Addie Lyon, who runs Gabby Nichols in the middle. Right back at you, says Lizzie Carr in the middle. Anything you can do, I can do better, says Kentucky. Look at this.
And just a different look right now from Kentucky. So we're seeing Cassie O'Brien go all the way around rather than getting subbed out in the back row. So maybe just wants to try it out and see what he's got in her.
I like that decision. Keep it continuous, regardless of who you're choosing in that setter role. Keep the ball consistent. Back to the pin. Big Penn is tight, undersized, and throws it off the block.
And that is so difficult to do going up against the 6'6" block of Kennedy Martin, especially when you're Big Penn and you're only 5'11". You have to be more crafty up front. That was a great example of that.
Tight set situation, bails herself out of it. What a play from Big Penn. Back to Juravicius, who finds it on the pin, and that ball is in. She is denied, and Kentucky goes back to work.
Kentucky just having so much success with their left sides. Brooklyn DeLay now back up front. She's going to be a weapon that Kentucky's going to go to early and often.
Eva Hudson with a big serve. That serve might have been out. Doesn't matter now. Penn State has to play it. O'Brien back to Hudson. Faldudo digs it out, so Grimes goes out to the pin. It's Martin, has to track it. Nice dig from Hudson to the middle. Carr gets a hold of it. Lyon pushes it out to the pin. Kennedy gets blocked, goes up again. Tries to throw it away. Kentucky goes back to delay. Oh, and a rare one to fall from Kentucky. Penn State scrambling their way out of this one.
That's one, if you're Kentucky, you want that. That's a really good touch off the block. Someone has to make a second play on that ball.
5-point hole to climb out of here for Penn State. Kentucky out-blocking Penn State right now, 7-2, so keep an eye on that defensively. Big Penn goes big again. Great coverage from O'Brien. That ball is out. Nathan follows it to the baseline. Penn State has to be scrappy, and they're finding it from their littles right now. Craig Skinner will opt to challenge.
And right away, Lizzie Carr, the middle blocker for Kentucky, screaming that there was a touch on that ball. Seeing it live, it didn't look like there was a touch off the block, but definitely aiming for that high hand shot.
We'll run it back. I didn't see one there. Anything jumping out to you?
Based on this look, it does not look as though
I don't see any
a touch is
moving
happening
backwards. Yeah, I don't think so. Often coaches will look to their players for assurance on which ones to challenge and which ones to not.
The biggest thing on challenges is you have to have conclusive evidence one way or the other, and especially based on the looks that we've seen so far, definitely not conclusive evidence to overturn it. If anything, it looks straight out.
Here's another look. I don't think I saw one that was well above the hands of Kennedy Martin, which is pretty shocking, but look at how even those two are, standing at 6'6", and that ball was definitely deep. You're trained as littles to track that ball to the baseline.
Another thing here, these calls are actually bundled, so the ref is able to look at that last play. I know it was a touch call, but you can also look at the in or out. And it was pretty close to the end line there.
And the verdict is no touch. Ball is out. Kennedy Martin amped up. Penn State still alive in this one. 4-point hole though. Kentucky seems unfazed. Doesn't seem like they have any holes in their lineup either, which is a dangerous scene for Penn State. Sport serve from the Nittany Lions, and right away, Carr goes back to work with conviction, and the freshman setter, Cassie O'Brien, running the offense for Kentucky with a 15-10 lead. Stay with us here only on Fox. College football, college volleyball, it's the best time of year. Basically Christmas for all of us who celebrate. How about Emmy Selman with a big swing on the outside? Delay. Throws a free ball over. What will Penn State do with it? That's the question. Back to Kennedy Martin. Nobody surprised. That was a little bit off though. Doing a tip. Jump ball. Nice dig from Lions. Works really hard in that area too. So Selman tries to find something with a free ball there. And that is a cannon. If you leave Delay in a one-on-one situation, she usually takes care of business.
Not only is this ball fast out to Delay, but they're doing it in transition, meaning within rallies. Typically, it's really difficult for a middle blocker to get set and explode out fast enough. Kentucky's running this offense beautifully.
You're telling Gabby Nichols to camp on the pins, as you suggested earlier. Penn State, we'll see. Emmy Selman back to work. That ball is out. Kentucky running away with set 2.
The difficult thing is you could tell a middle to go camp out on Delay, but also you got Asia Thigpen on the right side who's been ripping balls. So Kentucky's just got a lot of options right now. That's what's making their offense so difficult to stop.
Yeah, Thigpen to me is the epitome of what Kentucky volleyball is all about. Scrappy, competitive, passionate. Miss serve for Kentucky lets Penn State back in it. Down 6 though. Jillian Grimes will serve. Jordan Hopp will have her hands full here with the Kentucky offense. How about a serve from Jillian Grimes, your senior libero, to get things going?
Big serve, really smart decision to go right between the two outside hitters for Kentucky. Typically your weaker passers.
Prior to that, Kentucky was at about 78% in the side-out percentage, so really handling the serve and pass battle. Kennedy Martin a little bit off the neck. Wouldn't do much there, but finds a way anyways. From about 5 feet off the net, Kennedy Martin still finding a way to put this ball away.
Kentucky frustrated, thinking that Thigpen could have made a play on that. Maybe some good defense on Penn State's student section.
Best blockers in the league as far as we're concerned. The wrecking crew has spoken here inside the historic Rec Hall, with 8 national championship banners have been lifted to the rafters, including their most recent one ahead of the match. Jess Merzick, Cameron Hanna, we're back to celebrate it. Quinn Menger, they spoke with Penn State ahead of tonight's match. Obviously a very emotional time too for Penn State without their ace setter, Izzy Stark. And there's another crafty kill for Asia Thigpen on the opposite.
Thigpen is so impressive because she's not your typical right side attacker. She's a bit shorter. Typically your right side is one of the most physical players on your team, but she's undersized yet explosive and crafty and just has that gritty mentality.
She does, doesn't she? Fun to watch, that's for sure. To serve as Brezowitz. Jordan Hopp tries to get going through the middle. She is denied. And again, for Kentucky going with their freshman setter, Cassie O'Brien, that is high praise for a coach to turn to you in the middle of a match against a top 5 ranked opponent to take the reins offensively. We'll see if that holds up for Kentucky. Short serve there, and very wise play from Brezowitz. Kennedy Martin looks to get going and throws one off the block ahead of her. Well played.
Kentucky's block has been so good throughout this match so far. It's forcing Penn State into different situations. So right here, Martin doesn't have a good swing on it with her well-formed block, so she looks at those hands and just pushes it right off and out of bounds for the point.
She makes those adjustments in real time so well. Can't say enough good things about Kennedy Martin. Again, another wicked serve. That is a high contact point. Block for Penn State. Emmy Selman tries to get going, and what a play from Kentucky. Delay off of a block gets the attack going. That kind of assist.
Yeah, heads-up play from Brooklyn Delay on this, just ready to explode at all times. Good block touch up front, and then just puts it right back down. That's an explosive.
Kennedy, she didn't count that as an assist. I wonder, we'll see. Missed serve again for Kentucky. Penn State still alive, but Kentucky in the red zone. They need 5 to close out the second set. Emily will chat with Katie Schumacher-Cauley after the second set to get her thoughts on tonight's matchup so far. Ava Faldudo back to work for Penn State. More defensive specialists predicted to take over the backcourt when Grimes graduates. Big kill from the back row again from Brooklyn Delay. She seems unstoppable.
She's up to 12 kills already, hitting over 400. Those are crazy numbers from an outside attacker. Normally you're happy hitting about 300. And not only is Delay doing that, but she's doing it against a top 5 team in the country that's known for gritty defense.
It's a big block by Jordan Hop ahead of her too. Last minute swing adjustment from Delay. Vicious throws up a tight pass, and that joust with 6'6" against 5'9" is typically going to go on the side of 6'6".
Yeah, typically you're going to put that down pretty quickly, but that all started from the end line. Trinity Ward putting in a bullet of a serve, forcing that overpass.
Great point. Yeah, the serve and pass game so critical. Every coach talks about it. Coach drills it endlessly. Another big serve from Ward incoming. Yeah, goes right back to Jurevicius. And comes away with a kill for Penn State.
Now it's a play that Penn State really needed just to fuel the offense a little bit and get out of that rotation. Now they still do have Addie Line, the shorter blocker up front. So watch that matchup on Kentucky's side, really forcing that quick tempo outside to Eva Hudson.
Eva Hudson with 6 kills tonight. Brooklyn Delay with 12. Pass for Tuzzo. What a crafty set from the freshman too. Izzy Carr loading up on the quick behind her.
This is how fast Lizzie Carr is. She's so fast to get up and explode out to it. Even if that set is a little bit lower than she would want, she adjusts that arm swing midair to get to it.
Like that last minute adjustment from Cassie O'Brien. Wasn't a perfect pass situation, but all the more important time to then run your middles. Now Penn State has to worry about it across the way. Kennedy Martin goes big on a leading set from the back row. It's missed. Set point for Kentucky. Serve here. Penn State goes to the middle. Gabby Nichols is stuffed blocked. And it is Lizzie Carr who puts it away on the other side. Big block. And the Wildcats proving why they're a top 4 team in the nation right now. A dominant close to the second set. And up 2 sets to none on Penn State at the moment. Wow. Kentucky night in State College. And I want to talk about Craig Skinner for a moment here too, Emily. Keeping up with today's game. There are not a lot of coaches left that have been with their programs for 21 years. He told us ahead of this match, comes down to 3 things. Number 1, you got to have good people around you. Number 2, you have to adapt and evolve, as he has continued to do with today's game. And number 3, for this particular team, you have to play to whatever their strength is. You cannot be too committal to one thing or another. You got to work with the group that you got and plug them in. Perfect example of that is Thigpen on the opposite position with some heavy hitting on the outside attacking positions there for Kentucky. Back to work here in set number 3. There's Thigpen right on cue, goes to the middle of the court.
Big Penn is such a lethal weapon on the right side because she's so crafty. Normally, you have your big sluggers out there that are just taking big swing after big swing, but Big Penn does such a great job being deceptive, throwing in tips and roll shots that make it really difficult for defenses.
I love that. Take whatever athletes you have and plug them in to make your team the strongest it can be, regardless of if it's counterintuitive or not. Big play from Mendelson. And I know Penn State would love to get their middles going here to have success in set number 3.
And Mendelson pulled out of the lineup during that second set, and we saw freshman middle blocker Gabby Nichols in the lineup for her. So seeing Mendelson back in there, clearly Katie Schumacher-Colley's trying to get some production there and probably get some touches on Kentucky right now because of how fast that outside is.
That'll motivate you. Speaking how fast, wow, what a tempo set from O'Brien. Big push to the outside pin of DeLay. Love that. She's from the 10-foot line pushing this thing.
That's a beautiful set from O'Brien, getting it all the way out. That allows DeLay to have the shots that she wants. This time, that line seam shot, so going right down that end line.
Brezowitz serving, mentioned her sister played for Kentucky, won a national title with Kentucky in 2020. Her sister plays for Vanderbilt. Whoa, look out, Eva Hudson. Big swing from Kennedy Martin.
Just a bomb from Martin on the right side. Good ball chucked up from Addie Lyon, does a really nice job finishing that off.
To serve now is Kennedy Martin, which means Addie Lyon is back in the front row. See what Cassie O'Brien does. She goes to the middle back position to the back row. Eva Hudson was not prepared. And off the hands was Jordan Hupp. DeLay tries to go through the block. She is denied. Back row again. Eva Hudson's ready this time. So O'Brien goes over with it on the second contact. Love to see that from a freshman. Big play from Emmy Selman. Penn State takes an early lead here in set number 2.
Penn State needs someone to have a little bit of juice right now. They have Kennedy Martin, who's been ripping balls left and right, but they need someone else to step up.
Had big shoes to fill with Jess Merzick and Cameron Hanna graduating for them. It's part of that national championship winning team last season. Oh, no blocker situation there. Couldn't handle it for Kentucky. Athletic play from Washington. Who else but Brooklyn DeLay with her 14th kill of the night.
You heard Katie Schumacher-Colley talking about it. They had to do something to slow down the left sides, but with how terminal DeLay and Hudson are and how fast that set is, I don't know if any middle can get out and close and you don't know where the ball's going.
And again, Penn State feeling the heat with Lyon being a bit undersized there. To the pin again, Eva Hudson tries to terminate. Selman throws it over. O'Brien to Washington with a tip on the slide. It seemed like her only option, and Penn State couldn't take it out.
Not the best set over on the slide attack, leading it a little bit too much, meaning it's pushed out to the pin. Washington tries to chase it down, but really smart decision to throw the tip right to the middle of the court. Best bailout option as an attacker.
Curious what the MPH is here for Brooklyn DeLay's serve. That is a cannon. Nathan gets burned there on a big serve. We were talking about that ahead of the match, Emily, and what the service pace used to be and where it is now. The evolution of the service game is next level here collegiately.
I mean, it's coming so fast at you. Normally you would only see that from topspin serve, but the ability from float serves now to have that kind of speed is absolutely insane.
Throws one into the net. Penn State back in it.
Remember back a few years ago, you have radar guns that measure the miles per hour, how fast the serves are coming in. We had a goal of hitting at 40 miles an hour was really fast. And now you're in gyms and they're like 45, 46 miles per hour is considered good now, which is insane to think about that level of play jump in just the last 4 or 5 years.
Look at that. Pocket in at what, 56?
Yeah.
Crazy. High hands there for DeLay. Smart play for the veteran attacker in the back row, and you even put 2 big blockers up ahead of her on a solid double block, and she still finds a way.
And there's a good look at it because she has a lot of options here. She goes right off the high hands, but she could have ripped it cross court as well. She's really difficult to read because she can hit all angles.
It's a physical Juravicious block up ahead. Keep a lookout here too for Trinity Ward, the freshman server, to try and exploit Caroline Juravicious passing in that left back position, and then that transition can be tricky for attackers who have the challenge of passing and then loading up in transition. Here's a challenge for Penn State. Not sure what they're looking at, but we'll take a closer look at it. Here's another look at the play.
So, question on that line, because that is as close as it gets. But you want to be as close to the line as you can to have that full swing coming in.
And they train in practice to turn that foot on the approach to get as close to that line as you can. Trinity Ward back to work again. Look out for the matchup here between Ward and Jervicius. You can tell her shoulders are angled that way, trying to exploit the front row attacker there. Goes to the seam, Grimes fights it up. And a big kill out of the back row for Kennedy Martin.
What makes Martin's back row attack so difficult to defend is that they move her around. So Martin normally plays in right back, and she would hit what's called a D-ball back there. This is a big attack, so it's a quick back row attack through the middle where she's coming through. It's really difficult to ID because you expect her to be on that right side.
Kennedy Martin carrying a big load tonight. It's her 12th kill of the evening. Out of system here for Kentucky, setting from the 10-foot line delay. Finally easy to read because it was a two-handed tip. Big seam to exploit. Jervicius had a juicy opportunity. Instead, Kentucky denies it.
Eva Hudson, come on! Solo stuff for the senior outside. Beautiful hands. Identifying her middle was nowhere to be found. Turned it right back into the court.
Yeah, beautiful fill and a veteran play from Hudson. He used to play in the Big Ten. Very familiar with Penn State. Purdue transfer, led the Big Ten in kills last 3 seasons. Has great defense too, but Maggie Mendelson adds to her kill total, looking to get her going, and it looks like the Bear has been taking her out of the lineup.
Yeah, Penn State's got to find a way to keep the middle attack involved. I love the set from Addie Lyon because they kept the middle involved, even though Lyon is moving forward. That was a quick back attack.
Lyon spent her first 2 seasons at Mizzou, second to St. Louis on the back half of her career, and now landing in Penn State to round out her 5th year. Eva Hudson will serve after the service miss from Addie Lyon. Float from Hudson, handled by Feldudo. How about Maggie Mendelson getting going in the middle for Penn State?
Gotta know when to feed your hot hitter, especially when Mendelson is swinging like that. Addie Lyon has to make sure to get her going as often as she can when Mendelson's in the front court.
Maggie Mendelson was in the negatives leading up to the set number 3. You mentioned it, Gabby Nichols went in for her in set 2. And sometimes that's all it takes to poke a player to get them going a little bit offensively. Maggie Mendelson rising to the occasion. She'll also play on the women's basketball team this season as well. Dig for Nathan, and Mendelson has the hot hand. How about it? Number 44, and White gets going in the middle.
This connection is so hard to get down between a setter and a middle attacker. Because it's so fast, the margin for error is so small. So when you have a new setter coming in, sometimes it takes months to get these connections down. But as you can see, Addie Lyon stepping in right away, and it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does. And the difference is in height, too. Dive into that in a moment. What a play from Paul, and dig from Grimes. Oh, no! Maggie Mendelson, 3 in a row.
Keep feeding her until Kentucky has an answer. What's made it difficult, too, is Mendelson isn't hitting the same shot. Massive up from Jillian Grimes in the backcourt to force that. But I love the way that Addie Lyon is making sure to just force that ball to her middle attack.
Yeah, to your,
on the 3-0 scoring run.
To your point there, Emily, too, the different trajectories from a shorter setter to a 6-foot-plus setter, that's a different ball to connect on, if you're a middle especially, trying to gauge that. Different arcs. Sayers O'Brien out to the pin, and it's DeLay who looks for the tip off the block. She is denied of such endeavors.
And all of a sudden, Penn State is right back in this match. Down 0-2. They want to put on a show for these hometown fans.
It's hard to miss Kennedy Martin, all 6'6" of her. Penn State on a little run here. Let's see if Big Penn can get things going. Nice dig there from Jocelyn Nathan. And answering right back is Big Penn and Carr.
Kentucky's block has been outstanding so far tonight. They're doing a really good job. Even if their bodies are late on some of these plays, they're getting their hands in spaces to shut it down. Beautiful job by Carr, getting your hands there.
Izzy Carr's older brother Andrew played for Kentucky basketball. Her other brother plays for Virginia Tech. Athletic family. Let's see what Tuzzo does from the service line. Picks apart Emmy Selman. That's the target. Off high hands for Kentucky. Goes back to Penn, and he goes right to the block. Denied. Emmy Selman motivated for Penn State.
Penn State needed to get this crowd involved. Down 0-2 in a match, you gotta have some juice on your side. The biggest way to do that is a massive stuff block going straight down.
Played by Emmy Selman. Eva Hudson with the pass. DeLay goes off speed. Penn State is on it, but in a scramble here. Kennedy trying to get him out. And she will. Finds the outer edge of the back and the outer edge of the... Welcome you back to a raucous environment here inside Rec Hall. Historic venue and a big response out of the timeout called for Kentucky. That's the sophomore, Kennedy Washington.
That response is as good as it gets for a team like Kentucky after a big Penn State run, nailing the pass right away, getting good middle involvement.
Well, if you're just joining us, big news for Penn State today. Their star setter, Izzy Stark, announced that she is stepping away from college volleyball. Just a pause to take care of her mental health, and that's a big deal. Addie Lyon is in, number 7 in white. Pulling off of the net for Penn State, still alive. Kentucky looking to pull within one. The block is wide. It's Brooklyn DeLay once again with her 16th kill, and she is pushing Cassie O'Brien all the way around, her freshman setter.
So impressive the way Brooklyn DeLay is playing in all areas of her game. Her blocking and passing is incredible. We talk about her offense all the time. 16 kills, and we're not even through 3 sets yet.
Unbelievable. Brezowitz back to serve. Ryan throws it back to Kennedy Martin. Brezowitz gets a dig on it. DeLay tries to throw it over on 2. How about that block from Jordan Huff?
Really smart read up front for Penn State, knowing this high ball to the outside. Any hungry attacker is going to take a big swing on that. So a really nice shot from the block, getting right in front of that line of approach.
Heads up play there for the Penn State block. Kennedy Martin back to serve. Look out for the matchup with Addie Lyon and DeLay on the pin. That's exactly where Cassie O'Brien goes, but a little switcheroo on the block for Penn State.
Yeah, so Penn State's going to throw in some switch blocks, meaning they're changing the position of where the blockers normally are. So in that rotation, the middle is actually blocking on the right side, and the shorter blocker, and Addie Lyon, is blocking in the middle.
Run. Here's another weapon out of the middle for Kentucky. Denied though. Martin gets blocked. Lyon gets the coverage. Out to the pin for Selman, who's blocked. And could not be covered out of that one. Kentucky grabs another point. Here's another look at the block.
I love the way Cassie O'Brien is playing. Just a freshman setter stepping into one of the most difficult environments in all of college volleyball here in Rec Hall, and she has really stepped up to the plate for Kentucky.
It's block number 11. For Kentucky to Penn State's 4 on the match so far. Another cannon from DeLay. DeLay handles it defensively, and over goes Cassie O'Brien. I like that attack, though. Martin goes big. What a dig for Brezowitz. Eva Hudson jammed up. Kennedy Martin taking her way out of trouble, too. O'Brien goes to Tuzzo, who throws it tempo to the pin to Hudson. That was impressive. Hate to see that one land for Kentucky, but what a scramble on both sides. Penn State gets away with it.
A lot of finesse during that rally. Not only incredible ups, but man, that step from Tuzzo, she's basically so 5 feet off the net, still manages to get her hands on it. But a really nice finish from Penn State.
She's got that touch. It's a special talent to be able to set that ball. Coach tells us so. There's a couple of other wrinkles in her offense, too. We'll keep a lookout for that. Big serve here for Faldudu. I think that one was deep. Doesn't matter. Goes to the back row. It's DeLay who gets it through. Jordan Howe drops on Penn State's side.
Penn State's blockers just feel like they're a step off from everything because of the speed that Kentucky runs. Penn State hasn't been able to get their bodies in the right spot to finish with their hands. We're seeing a lot of balls fall right off the block and down.
Trinity Ward checks back into the lineup. Great point by you, Emily Eman. Goes cross court again to Juravicius, earns the overpass, that's key. And Cassie O'Brien in a joust and loses that one. Excuse me, Juravicius loses that one in the joust. What a play from the freshman setter.
I mean, normally you don't see freshman setters come in and be this offensive right away, but so impressed with what O'Brien has been able to do and being aggressive up front and making sure to establish herself as an offensive weapon.
Skinner says she's an elite setter, a complete player at that position, and at that age is not always the case. Lonnie goes to the back row again. Kennedy Martin is dug out. And Jordan Hunt welcomes the overpass. Good night.
Good tempo on that swing to force the overpass. It's one thing to be in the right spot to take it, but then it's again to control it. Really great ups by Hop.
Jordan Hop will serve. Playing that right back position. We'll see if they set her again. We saw it earlier in the match. And quick set. Wow, what a beauty from O'Brien.
I mean, there's just no stopping that. From where O'Brien is setting this ball on the complete right side of the court, watch this tempo. All the way out, no middle is going to be able to close that. And Eva Hudson, even with that seam, is just barreling it to the floor.
Cassie O'Brien has only really been playing full time here for 2 sets, 2.5 sets maybe, has 20 assists already. Back to serve for O'Brien. Off the block. Mendelson buries the block on Eva Hudson.
Maggie Mendelson is taking over this third set for Penn State. When they needed a spark, they found it in the senior middle blocker.
That's a great point by you, Emily. 2 blocks, 5 kills, all in a spurt of the last 10 points or so for Penn State. Does Eva Hudson, and Penn State hunting down the red zone. They need 2 points to hit 20. Greg Skinner a little perplexed, but remember, Kentucky battle tested, fell short against Nebraska last weekend, but did get reverse swept. O'Brien goes to the middle, Big Penn. Wow, what a beauty from the 5'11", undersized attacker, undersized who, she says. Love that.
I mean, she makes up for it with having an absolute hammer for an arm. Yeah, this ball is trucking through.
Is the #1 ranked recruit from the state of North Carolina. After she was being recruited, she's a sophomore now. Maggie Mendelson tries to load up. Kennedy Martin from the outside pin now. Juravicius looking for a big block. She gets it. On delay, to the middle, Carr trying to put it away, denied. Martin, tight to the net, does what she can with it. Oh, another beautiful set from Tuzzo. Kennedy Martin to the outside pin, what a dig from Molly Tuzzo. And Kentucky had to gut that one out on defense.
Insane defense on the Wildcat side just to keep these plays alive. Awesome up from Tuzzo to allow that to happen, and what a high IQ play from Brooklyn DeLay, forcing this in the back corner.
Hudson, what a serve. Knows Juravicius is in the front row and picks her up. But Kennedy Martin answers, 15 kills.
At this point in the set, expect almost every single ball to go out to Kennedy Martin. Because she is Penn State's go-to attacker, they'll look to her to close up this set as they try to stay alive in this match.
Kennedy Martin, really familiar with her opponent, was the 2024 SEC Player of the Year. Played against the Kentucky Wildcats for 3 years prior, excuse me. And what another play from Asia Thigpen.
The pop that Asia Thigpen puts on the ball is insane. She skies up there, but it feels like her hang time is forever, and then she just unloads on it.
Skinner describes Asia as a fierce competitor with an enormous appetite to compete and play the game. I would say we've seen that on full display here tonight. Molly Tuzzo with another big serve. Penn State in some trouble here. Goes back to Martin, who is to deny. Excuse me, no, that ball lands on the side of Kentucky. O'Brien was just as confused as I was. I thought that ball landed on Penn State's side, but it was so quick you couldn't see it. Another look at the banner that was raised earlier today. The 2024 defending national champions without Their 2024 Freshman of the Year, though, Izzy Stark, not in the lineup for Penn State, not in the lineup for the foreseeable future. She put out a public statement on the state of her mental health, needed to step away for a little bit. She identifies it as a pause, but Penn State will have to find their identity without their quarterback. And in a tight one here against top 4 team in the nation, I'd say feeling okay about yourselves moving forward. Molly Brezowitz back to serve. Lions serving from, setting from the 10-foot line. Kennedy Martin up against a double block time and time again, finding ways to get kills.
Now Kennedy Martin moving to the backcourt, so she's got a nasty serve back there, and expect Penn State to keep her involved in the back row as well.
She's finding ways to get kills in unideal situations too, which is what stands out about Martin in that role. O'Brien throws it over on 2, and Lyons somehow stays clean of the net. Beautiful set. O'Brien goes back to the middle. Oh, Grimes was on it, but Hop touched it. Out of reach. Kennedy Washington with a heads-up play.
A lot of different defensive strategies up at the net for Penn State right now, keeping their shorter setter, Addie Lyon, on the left side, so you have a bigger block on the left side for Kentucky going up against. A better matchup for the Nittany Lions.
It's a great analysis by you, Emily. Brooklyn DeLay throws a big serve that cannot be handled on Penn State's side. Ball was too tight for Addie Lyon to handle. Timeout taken by Penn State, locked up 21 apiece. Who's gonna take this one in State College? They've battled before, these two teams. Recent as last.
Nittany Lions right now, but in the last 4 points of the set, it's gonna be really important for them to put up a big block on the left sides. And now that you have Brooklyn DeLay in the backcourt, all the focus for Penn State needs to be on DeLay and Hudson.
You are absolutely right about that. So, do you camp them one way or the other? What are you telling your middles if you're Katie Schumacher calling?
I think you keep one middle on DeLay. We'll see how they switch block, because you have Addie Lyon, a shorter blocker, up right now. We've seen her stay on the left side, and both the middle and the left side blocker actually moving over to block Kentucky's left sides. So strategically, we'll see what they throw at it, but I think it's smart to keep Addie Lyon on the left side blocking because she's so short.
Well, then you got the sneaky Kennedy Washington in the middle, who's been keeping Penn State honest in that block situation. We'll see what they do here. DeLay back to serve. What a time to do it. Took a little bit off of it.
Brooklyn DeLay's got ice in her veins.
Man.
She knows exactly what to do at any given moment in whatever phase of the game. High IQ play for the junior.
Yeah, you feel for Jocelyn Nathan in that one. You're expecting a bomb, and she takes just enough off of it for it to drop in front of that platform. Addie Lyon bump sets out to Emmy Selman. Kentucky digs it out. O'Brien goes quick to the pin, and it works once again. You called it, Emily. Eva Hudson gets her 8th kill of the night.
Kentucky's offense completely runs through those left sides. They get over 2/3 of the set on this Kentucky team, so you have to know that the ball's probably going over there, but it's really difficult when you have a player like Brooklyn DeLay in the backcourt.
Kentucky 2 points away from taking the match off the defending national champs. Heavy topspin again. Ryan setting from the backcourt. Kennedy Martin loads up. She's defended. Eva Hudson had less time to load up, but gets it done. Ryan throws it up. And our first look at Ewing is Alexis Ewing for Penn State. Has some pedigree too. She's the daughter of the NBA legend Patrick Ewing and the legend from Long Beach State, Cheryl Weaver, who Russ Rose had high praise for, won a national title with them, was an All-American as well, so great pedigree. Checks back out of the lineup, but nice to see her in the mix. Ava Feldudo back to serve. Out to the pin, it's Eva Hudson. Talk about ice running through your veins. You got 2 L1s basically in this lineup for Kentucky.
It's so difficult to take down a team like Kentucky when you have your high point scorers all over the court doing exactly what they do.
Match point. Louisville, Kentucky native. Dreamt of playing for Kentucky volleyball. That dream coming true here, and a chance to knock off the defending champs. Feldudo handles the passing load. Kennedy Martin loads up out in the middle back position. And Penn State lives to see see another day.
This is where Kennedy Martin takes over in these kind of situations, late in sets, even from the backcourt. Expect 90% of the sets to go to her right now. She is Penn State's go-to attacker.
She's also the lead kill getter in this one. Team total kills on her night, tied with Brooklyn DeLay. What a serve from Penn State. Off the block, it lands in. The Wildcats crash the party. Kentucky storms into Rec Hall and stuns the defending champions on banner night. What a moment, what a match for the Wildcats, and this is a signature moment for head coach Craig Skinner.
Really impressive win for Kentucky to come into this kind of environment and look completely unfazed from start to finish. It is so difficult to hold